Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Welcome to the Big Meow podcast, brought to you by C.A.T.S Network. I'm your host, Angela Howard, and today I'm with Myrick, CEO, speaker, and executive coach. Thank you for enjoying it. It's for enjoying us today. Just let me say that.
I am so excited to enjoy you today. Thank you for having me and enjoying me today.
So we can tell this is going to be a fun podcast, So she uses, I love this, she uses emotional intelligence tools and somatic practices. So she's really coming at her holistic coaching holistically. Love that. So tell us more about what you do in your coaching practice, how you help us.
Yes. So I work with either individuals one-on-one or smaller groups. And then I also do like large speaking presentations. But in those settings, I'm really helping people uncover and overcome their blockages. A lot of us have subconscious blockages or limiting beliefs that are holding us back. And then also giving my clients or participants actionable tools in order to move through that. So, I think a lot of times when people think of speaker, you're like, oh, a motivational speaker. I'm like, yeah, but I'm more tactical. But then I love pulling in that emotional side, the somatic side. It's so like just the power of a deep breath is so incredible. And I think not enough of us are utilizing these very basic tools that we have access to in our bodies for free.
You're talking to a somatic therapist over here. So yes, I totally get it. Bodies don't lie. Sometimes our minds do. Yeah. They give us quite a story. So it looks like you work with all types or all sizes, from one person to these groups. Where do you find that your teachings are most impactful? You've got a wide range. Where do you find the greatest impact?
I think what I've found in the past, I'll say like couple years, the biggest impact is doing that one-on-one coaching or also working in small groups, like doing group coaching, because, and I've worked with a lot of teams that are going through challenges or friction with each other and helping them move through that. But that's where from the feedback that I get, feel like I'm able to make the biggest impact. I love speaking, right? But sometimes when you're presenting to 200 or 2000 or however many people, you don't have as that like direct interaction with them in order to like, hey, wait, let me press you on this. Let's go a little bit deeper, that you can do in a small group or a one-on-one setting.
Right. And you're probably finding post-pandemic that people are clamoring to be more in touch with each other, not through a Zoom. Am I right on that one?
Yes. Actually, interesting. Yes and no. I think one thing that's positive that came out of that time is that people are more willing to do things on Zoom, and I do a lot of my one-on-ones virtually, almost all of them. And the power of that can transcend whether you're virtual or in person. Like I have clients all over the country that I work with one-on-one, and North America, actually. I'm like, there's some in Canada too. So yeah, I do find, especially for the larger groups or doing the group coaching, they do enjoy an in-person, but I try to, especially if I'm working with a group over time, we'll kind of combine that, doing virtual and in-person events. So yeah, I love that now more people are more open to virtual stuff, but I also get the like virtual hangover that we all have. And I'm like, okay, it's time to close my computer for the day. We've had enough screen time.
Right. No kidding. So share with us a recent success, one of your clients or groups, share your success.
A recent success, I think I'm going to use a group coaching story just because it was quite a struggle with, I was working with a group of student athletes actually, and just the friction there between the athletes and the coach. And there was also a couple of teams involved in this scenario, and really helping them able to come more into alignment with each other
Mm.
and get on the same page and then start working together to create a better culture together. Honestly, like coming in, it was super rough. And then we worked together over, I think, the course of 5 or 6 weeks. And towards the end, just the shift in them and the shift in personal responsibility that I was seeing, like everyone kind of owning, I have to, like, I play a role in this. And from not having that when we started, it was so refreshing. And just, yeah, I was so happy for them to have that experience, be able to close out their season on a positive way rather than everyone hating it every day. I mean, that's really tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've seen some movies about that, like Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
That would be something along those lines.
I love Ted Lasso. It's such a good show.
It really is quite positive. Even if you didn't want it to be, it's very, very positive. So what inspired you to start this business?
So out of college, I was an athlete and it was just, at the time, I didn't know it, but really struggling with mental health and struggling with depression and a whole host of other things again, but didn't know, like, I didn't even know what mental health was.
Yeah.
And so when I finished college and I started working, I was like, man, I still feel shitty. What is going on? And ended up reaching out to a life coach and psychotherapist. And that was kind of the start of my healing journey. And that really shifted the trajectory of my life. But as I was going through that experience, I was also working. So I was in the business world. And so for over 10 years, like, I've had this business career. And then along the way, I ended up going to life coach training. And so I've kind of built the life coach energy psychology business on the side, and then, worked in business. And then now I'm blending the two, which is so fun and gives me, I think, a unique perspective, because I've seen all of these processes and things that people do in business, but it's like, wait, we have to have the other piece of it. We have to have the emotional intelligence skills, and we have to have all of these other awarenesses in order for us to succeed and be the best versions of ourselves, not just in business, but in all aspects of life.
So your audience, we're all C.A.T.S, we're all coaches, authors, thought leaders, and speakers. Many of us are entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. We're alone a lot.
Yeah.
And I love it because I'm a somatic therapist. I want you to tell us the importance of listening to your body, because I do feel like everybody's so in their head and they have so much negative feelings, what's going on below their neck. But please impart upon us, our listeners, the importance of our somatics, our somatic body.
Yes. Yeah. And it took me a really long time to learn that. Even with like all of this training that I had, it took me until the past few years to really start integrating and listening on deeper levels. Like, of course, I was learning over time, but once you truly find that integration, I think so many people our heads, we're just like heads chopped off. What's the word for that? Decapitated, really, from our bodies. And we are just overriding. And I did that as an athlete for years, in like through almost to my late 20s, where I was just overriding everything my body was trying to tell me, because I was like, I have to go harder, work harder, push harder, all of these things that we think we have to do, being in our culture in a capitalistic society. Oh, you want to be successful, you have to grind, and it's such bullshit, because it's going to leave you sick, exhausted, and essentially not happy or fulfilled. So learning how to quiet the mind, tune into the body, finding the wisdom in my body has been so powerful and so healing. I mean, so many things that I've struggled with over the years, have been able to heal or in the process of healing just by listening and slowing down and doing less.
Yeah. Wow. That somatic training. So as an athlete, especially, you sound like you are a pretty intense one, transitions, because we all go through transitions in life, whether we want to or not, but that transition between super athlete and what am I doing now? There's a gap. Tell us about that gap. What helped you get through knowing what you had to do every day? And then all of a sudden, because this is what entrepreneurs face. It's like, I'm told what to do in a job. I know I've got what I got to do. And then all of a sudden it's like, I got to make it up.
Yeah.
Tell us about what the gap was like for you and how others can get through that.
Yeah. The gap was interesting, being a Division I and Division II athlete and then stopping competing. It took me a while to find myself again, but then I kind of did the opposite, didn't go down the path of healing. I went down the path of more. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to run half marathons and trail races and do all this, and then do triathlons while I'm traveling for work, flying over 100 flights a year. Let's still make time to try. I'm like, and now looking back, I'm like, what was I doing? So the gap, it took a while for me to unlearn that, right? Because it was so ingrained for me in my life and in my subconscious for years. So the gap and the switch for me happened when I was like, oh, I don't have anything to prove. I don't have to kill my body. I don't have to do all of these things. And then reestablishing and recreating better and healthier ways to listen to my body, to move my body. And that took some time, right? It was a bit of trial and error. For a while, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do nothing for a little bit as I reset. But now I have found just a really beautiful balance of taking care of and moving my body in ways that serve me, and not in this is going to hurt me or exhaust me kind of way. Because I think especially with entrepreneurs or anyone who's high achieving, you're already under so much stress. By forcing yourself through some super intense HIIT workout or CrossFit workout or run a whole bunch of miles, that's actually probably going to hurt you more than it is help you, because you're just jacking up your cortisol levels and then your body's just all over the place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been there. That's the reason why I'm having all these reactions. So what's in the big picture for you? What's next for you?
Yeah, I think just continuing to do what I'm doing and kind of being open to the unknown, because I love that piece of it. And I'm really trying to come more into peace with that. Because sometimes it's like, I don't know what's next. And instead of that mindset or perspective you can feel the fear there, right? Rather than I don't know what's next. And so just being open to that. And I love that I have these different phases, or I guess buckets of my business, right? The one-on-ones, the small group coaching, the speaking. I am actually going to start, I live in Charlotte. I am going to start doing some experiences with hiking and Qigong and some really cool stuff, in-person things, kind of you were asking earlier. So that's kind of a fun new thing on the horizon. Don't know what's going to happen with that, but yeah, that's what I'm just excited about, the unfolding of everything.
And it sounds like you really like that group dynamic, and that's what C.A.T.S is about. We are a group of people who have similar, outcomes, businesses, and we all experience these things like the gap and the transitions. So how do we find you?
You can find me at lowmyrick.com or on Instagram at it's lowmyrick.
Okay, I'm going to spell that. It's LOMYRICK, just because I probably wouldn't know how to spell that.
Thank you so much, Angela. That is a great call.
So thank you so much for being on the show today. We really love what you shared, and we love it when we get some great wisdom nuggets from our other cats, and that's what we're all about. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I enjoyed your company so much and excited to connect with everyone.
Yes. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thanks. You too.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.